All right, lead heads. I am back. This is your, podcast host, the most, Lefty. I have no title. But we're bringing you more from the Talking Lead podcast this week. Hope you guys tuned in to the Talking Lead AK Corner, where we talked about the Galil, and we had a slew of experts on the show to help us with that. We even went to the makers of the Galil, IWI. We had Jeremy with IWI on, and got some great back information on the history of the Galil. And we had Marko Vorobiev, who is a former Spetsnaz soldier, now turned author and historian. He's written several books on the AK-47 and the history. So just a great show, priceless information that you're not going to hear anywhere else. So go back, check that episode out. And then this episode, we're going to be getting into some of the leftover SHOT Show interviews. So I've still got several interviews from SHOT Show that have not cranked out yet. So we're going to drop a couple of those this episode. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about what I've been doing this past week. And to help me do that, we've brought in another good friend of the show. And he's been on several times, but this is his first time on like the regular show. We've had him on at conventions and NRAs and things like that. But this will be his first time on our regular show. So let's welcome in our good buddy from Leo Takedown Systems, Joe Weir. Joe, welcome in.
Well, thank you very much for having me in today.
Well, man,
it's a pleasure.
It's like you were just here yesterday.
Funny that.
Funny you should say that.
Because I was. It seems like just yesterday.
Just a few days. I mean, it hadn't been that long. It was just a few days ago that you were here. And we took a trip up to Royal Range there in Nashville. And you schooled me on your system, the LEO Takedown. Now, we've talked about it before on the show, but I don't think we've gone into like great details about it. So we've got Joe on to give some more insight on this awesome, it's multi-caliber, multi-use system for your AR-15. How do you guys describe it?
Well, it's a new way of being able to package the AR-15. It allows you to take the barrel off for stowing it. But it also allows you to change calibers. It was developed by a veteran helicopter pilot who was told he had to fly with a rifle in between somewhere in the cockpit. He ended up with it between his shoulder and the canopy, and got back from deployment and said there's got to be a better way to put this thing away. So he came up with the system. It replaces the delta ring, and it uses gross motor actions, and it's straight in, straight out. Yeah. It's very easy to operate. Allows you to be able to change the barrel, take it off, put it back.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to this system. It's not just a multi-caliber. I mean, it serves a lot of different purposes. Solves a lot of different issues that our military, law enforcement, and civilians all alike have and experience every day. And we're going to get into those, and we're going to talk about that. And one of the issues that I was having is if you've got just a little bit of smithing skills and you got some tools, basic tools, you're going to be able to install this thing yourself, unless you're me. But that's why I had Joe come up, because I installed it and I jacked it up. I did it all wrong. So I had to call in the expert to come help me, and we did a little video on it. So as you're listening to this, be looking for the video that we've released. It'll be on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure it'll be on the website as well. I don't know if they want to post it on their website, but Joe, you are more than welcome to use that however you feel the need. But it was more to because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's running this issue, with this system. But we'll get into that. We're going to talk about that. But while you were up here, we had a good time. We were able to shoot some other guns that were new that came in. So Joe got a little trigger time on my new ODS 1775 and the bullpup that Keltec sent me, the RDB 17.
That's a sweet gun.
They were both remarkable. And we're going to be talking about more of those in the episodes to come. But we had an opportunity to go to dinner one night. Andrew joined us, and Pepper joined us. And we got to talking and reminiscing, and somehow the Cannonball Run movie came up. You guys remember the Cannonball Run back in the 80s, the early 80s, with Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and just a whole slew of other superstars at the time. Dean Martin, what's the blind guy? He's a little sidekick. Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, he's only half blind.
Terry Bradshaw. I mean, the list goes on. And again, it was, if you're younger, you're millennial, you're not going to know who any of these people are that we're talking about. But they were superstars during our time. And, with all these remakes that have been going out here recently of nostalgic movies and TV shows, we were just baffled that nobody had remade that yet. The Cannonball Run.
It is surprising.
I mean, great movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all times, and you don't see it like replayed a lot, like on these streaming. I don't think I've ever seen it on one of these streaming services.
Yeah, I think that there is some sort of a copyright thing going on right now. It's not available anywhere except overseas. The first movie, second movie's out there, and quite frankly, I personally think the first movie is much better.
Oh, absolutely.
The second one kind of phoned it in, but
yeah, I agree. The first one, there's no, you can't top that. It was an original idea, and how this movie came to be was, during that time was when they were passing the 55 mile an hour speed limit nationwide, and this Cannonball Run, which is a race from coast to coast, starts on the East Coast, I think in New Jersey somewhere, and is a real thing. And they go to California, and they were protesting this new 55 mile an hour imposed speed limit, and it's hilarious. So if you guys haven't ever watched it, I don't know where you're going to be able to find a copy. I broke out my old VHS tape. I still got a VCR.
So you might have to explain that to some of your millennial listeners.
Oh, what a VHS is? No doubt. But after we had dinner that night, we were like, I had the bug, so I had to watch it. So we sat down and watched that, and we got her kids to watch it. They'd never seen it or heard of it, didn't know who half the people were in it. But they enjoyed it. They thought it was pretty good. Jackie Chan actually is in that too. I was thinking
he is.
That's somebody that they would know. He's a very young Jackie Chan is in that movie.
A very funny Jackie Chan too. That's the other part.
Oh my gosh, the things that they do in this movie are so what would be considered racist today. Some of the jokes and stereotypes that they're doing in this movie would be considered racist. But
yeah, the movie took a lot of liberties. It was actually based on a real event. A real annual event that used to happen. I actually ran into one of the organizers, Brock Yates. He did a column for Car and Driver back in the day, and he was one of the organizers of this thing, the real thing. Oh yeah, and he was also a consultant for the movie. I ran into him once. They had this thing that was kind of a watered down successor called One Lap of America. Car and Driver put on, and I got to meet him there once. Over in South Carolina, and I introduced myself, and being a young kid during that time, and I used to read the Car and Drivers cover to cover.
Oh yeah.
And watch the movie so many times. My copy of that VHS was worn out. So I introduced myself and told him what a fan I was of his work, and he looked at me and he had a deadpan look, and he said, "You need to get a life."
Oh my gosh. This was the day before the internet, where you had magazines. People went to magazines to get their their information.
Headquarters, we are still in pursuit of the black Lamborghini. 42, you've been in pursuit for 2 hours. Another 5 minutes and you'll be in Arizona.
Yeah, and we're gonna stay in pursuit until we catch him.
It didn't take us that long to catch Dillinger.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you happen to get an autograph or anything like that?
No. After I'd been told to get a life, I said, maybe this isn't the guy to ask for an autograph.
He wasn't much into the fandom, huh?
Yeah, he also shared his. He didn't have a high opinion of the movies either. Apparently, there was too much levity involved.
There was great levity involved. But like you said, it was based on a real event and I don't know if they still do it or not.
No.
The Cannonball Run. I mean, it's probably an underground thing if they do, and it's not, advertised or talked about, which this one wasn't either. And but they had actually taken, what's that?
Well, it's funny you say that. There was just a news story this past week about how the record time for that Cannonball Run has been broken 7 times in the last 5 weeks. So it may not be
5 weeks.
Yes.
So apparently it's still going on.
Well, they're at least doing covert runs. I don't know if it's a full star-studded cast like it was back in the 70s, but apparently folks are still taking it serious, trying to get from one coast to the other.
I'll have to look that up. But yeah, Roger Moore was in it. He's played one of the James Bond. He was one of the James Bonds. I mean, they keep coming to me. There's just everywhere you look, there's some sort of celebrity, and they were huge back in that time. Obviously, Roger Moore was a really big star back in the 80s. Who else was in that? Adrienne Barbeau and some other chick. They were in the Lamborghini.
Farrah Fawcett.
That's right. Farrah Fawcett was in it. There was a couple of besides Joe Klecko was in it. Besides Terry Bradshaw, so a couple of football players that were in it.
Yep.
A couple, I guess, comedians of the day were there too. I don't know, but it's a great movie. But they've got everything from Lamborghinis, Ferraris to big dually trucks to ambulances that are, racing in the same. They just come up with any kind of gimmick they can so they won't get pulled over to get from one coast to the other. Oh, and there's this couple that are on a motorcycle, and the guy that's on the back is a fat guy. And they do a wheelie the whole way. But it's a great movie. If you've not seen it, you got to go see it. Reminisce. It brought back a lot of memories. So I was doing some reminiscing when Joe came into town.
Awesome.
But maybe we can do like we talked about. We'll get together and we'll make another one. We'll produce the next Cannonball Run 3.
That's a tall order, but I'm up for it.
Make it modern day. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So before we get into talking about the Leo system, we've got to take care of some Jackwagons and some Leadhead Brigade heroes. So Gunny, bring that train in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
All right, so the train has stationed, and I think what I want to do is I want to go to our Leadhead submitted Jackwagons first. So let's do that. And I'm going to our first one, and this comes from Jason Edgar. And Jason says, "Hey, Lefty, I nominate iHeartRadio for picking Hillary Clinton to speak to our youth on their 2020 graduation commencement podcast." Oh, my gosh. Jason says, "I have a senior graduating this year, and it is tough not having a traditional commencement. I couldn't imagine what Hillary has to offer morally to say to our youth, more like vote Democrat. Just goes to show how blind our society is and how corrupt our media is." Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know that they're corrupt, but they are biased, and they make no bones about their how biased that they are. But that is definitely one podcast that I will not listen to. And I'm sure millions of others will not listen to either. Hopefully they're not forcing these senior graduates from across the nation. Hopefully they're not doing this like everybody has to listen to this. That would be wrong, definitely.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, great nomination there, Jason. So what about you, Joe? You got any Jackwagons? Anything come to mind? I know you weren't prepared, but as we're talking, something might come to mind.
Well, it's funny we were talking about the Cannonball Run because I get at least 8 or 9 Jackwagons a morning on my morning commute who seem to be practicing for the Cannonball Run out on 77. I kid you not. I haven't seen anything move that fast since they called me for the buffet. But it's just crazy out there. Just crazy.
I think that's any major city. You've always got those commuter Jackwagons that just have no regard for anybody else on the road. They think they're the only people on the road. All right, so Ed Burton. This one comes from Ed.
Easy triple-digit speeds.
Yeah. Ed Burton sends this one in. And this says, a local to me Jackwagon passenger. And he's got a link here. And it looks like he's got it's a wanted poster. $500 Crime Stoppers reward for information leading to the arrest of Lemarcy Melson. And let's see what this guy did. It says, LPD responded to this address in reference to a child shot. Officers arrived and determined that a 4-year-old female child had been shot in the face. The child was immediately transported to the hospital. So it says that this guy is believed that he left a firearm out, and his 6-year-old found it, was playing with it, and then shot this little girl in the face. It says after the shooting, this Jackwagon fled the scene, taking the weapon with him, and of course, no surprise here, this guy's a felon. Several violations that he's got on his record here. Looks to be a repeat offender.
If only there was some law that would keep somebody like that from owning a gun.
Well, right? Oh, wait, there is. Which is probably why he's a felon to begin with. But if anybody knows this guy, it's Lemarkese Melson, and this appears to be, I don't see where this is. Where's it at? Atlanta. Okay, so this is in Atlanta. And you can call Crime Stopper 706-812-1000. Hopefully they've already got this guy by now, but anyway, definitely Jackwagon. All right, so my Jackwagon, I was going through some articles, and I thought this wasn't a thing anymore, but apparently it is. Ghost guns. So 60 Minutes has done a bit recently. This was released May 10th. It says Ghost guns, the build-it-yourself firearms that skirt most federal gun laws and are virtually untraceable. Dun, dun, dun! It says, under federal law, they require no background check or serial number, making ghost guns a growing weapon of choice for criminals. A growing weapon of choice for criminals. Okay. As the coronavirus pandemic sweeps through the country, panic and fear have caused a run on hand sanitizer, toilet paper, and guns. Retailers tell us they have never seen such a surge in firearm sales. One kind of weapon that has been selling out is a build-it-yourself firearm known as a ghost gun because it skirts most federal gun laws. There's no background check or serial number, making ghost guns invisible to police and almost impossible to trace when used in a crime. We were surprised that it's all perfectly legal. After a year and a half of reporting, we discovered that ghost guns, once mainly popular with gun enthusiasts, have also become a weapon of choice for criminals, manufactured by gangs, and used in mass shootings. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Now that's some top-notch reporting there. You'd think they would...
Everything, it's scare tactics. All their words and the way that they're phrasing everything is meant to bring fear to the uneducated. Well, the fact is that this has always been legal. It's always been legal to make your own firearm within certain limitations. As long as you're not selling them or using them in crimes for criminal purposes, which the same goes for guns with serial numbers. But most criminals, no, this is not a growing thing for criminals. Most criminals aren't, they don't have the money to go and build their own guns, to order the parts and And the machining that it takes, you have to be precise when doing this. You can't just get a chisel and a hammer and, bang out your own firearm. Well, maybe you could, I don't know, but it's probably going to blow up in your face. So, the fact that they're making this out to be something bigger than it actually is ridiculous. And the article goes on, and it says that they actually sought out America's Top Gun cops. Guess who they're calling America's Top Gun cops, Joe?
Barney?
The ATF.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
To find out exactly what a ghost gun is. Thomas Chittum, ATF's Assistant Director of Field Operations, gave us rare access to its West Virginia weapons repository and told us the latest additions here are ghost guns. So here's his interview with this guy. And this is just comical to us who know and understand the laws and what they're trying to accomplish here. This is just pure comedy. This is Bill Whitaker. What's the difference between these two guns? And he's holding up two Glocks, one that was apparently an 80% that somebody finished, and then the other, when you get at your local gun dealer. It says, well, this is a firearm that was manufactured by a licensed manufacturer. The law requires them to mark them with certain markings, including a serial number. This one is not marked. No background check is completed when you purchase it. Well, you're not purchasing it.
Yeah,
okay.
There's the first loophole there. They're not legal for sale. So there's felony one.
Well, yeah, there's no loophole. That's the thing. There's no loophole here. So no background check is completed when you purchase it. It's made at home by somebody using commonly available hand tools. I don't know any hand tools. Like I was saying, a chisel and a hammer, no. I mean, you got to have some pretty precise milling machines to be able to do this. Now, I did an 80% AR-15 a few years back. Did my first one, and I used a hand drill press, and I did a pretty good job. I mean, it was a bang-up job, but, I got it done, and I still use it today. Still works fine. But I still own it. I still possess it. If I ever go to sell it, law requires that I put a serial number on it, and then I can sell it legally. So there are legal ways that you can go about transferring, selling unserialized homemade guns. It's legal. It's completely legal. Nothing illegal about this. What's illegal is when people use them for, Joe, illegal purposes. When they break the law. Laws are set up to make this legal, that you can do this. It's perfectly fine. But as in everything that humans get involved with, there are people that go against the grain and they use them for nefarious purposes. So it goes on to say, so they both do the same thing. And the ATF guy, they both shoot. As Chittum says, usually if you bought a gun at a store, it would have a traceable serial number and you would need to pass a background check under federal law. A ghost gun can circumvent all of that because it's put together from unfinished, untraceable parts.
You mean like metal stock and plastic? So I think we should start registering when you buy tubing and other metal stock at the wholesaler now, because obviously, steps need to be taken.
It's virtually invisible to you and the government, the reporter says. It almost makes it challenging to keep it out of the hands of people who are not allowed to possess firearms. Well, obviously in the story that I read previously, it was a felon, a guy who was a convicted felon, and he still had a firearm anyway. They can still get fired because they can steal them. They know they're not supposed to be in possession of them, but yet he was still in possession of it. Didn't stop him, did it? That law didn't stop him. The article goes on, and I'm not going to read this article. It's just gonna upset me. I'm going to get upset reading this article because of the stupidity and the way that they're leading uneducated people about this and bringing them down their rabbit hole here. So if you guys want to check this article out, just Google ghost guns, the build-it-yourself firearms that skirt most federal gun bans. 60 minutes. You can find it there. There's actually a video there, too. I haven't watched the video yet. But looking at these guys and the fact that they were willing to do an interview with 60 Minutes, they're jackwagons. They're boneheads. They ATF. What do you expect? I went down deeper on that one than I was intended to, but that's what happens.
It had to be done.
I had a couple of more here. I think I'm just going to skip over them. 3 men arrested outside a homicide victim's funeral with AK-47s. So the gist of this story was there was a funeral going on, and this car pulls up, and these kids get out, or these people. I don't know if they were kids or adults. They're in their 20s. And they've got masks on, and one of them is toting a semi-automatic rifle, which they're calling it was an AK-47. But listen to the charges. So we're amongst some crazy times, in our world's history here, and everybody's being required to do their part to not spread this virus and be socially conscious and distancing and wearing masks and gloves and all this. So check this out. So one of the guys is facing several charges, including armed to the terror of the public, wearing a mask in public place. So he's actually being charged with wearing a mask in a public place and being armed. So if I'm concealed carrying, or if I'm open, depending on what state you're in, and you're open, it's legal to open carry here in Tennessee, and I've got a mask on, then I don't know if that is in Tennessee or not. This was in Washington, North Carolina, or Wilmington, North Carolina, and I think your laws are similar. Aren't you in North Carolina?
Oh, I'm in South Carolina.
You're South Carolina, okay.
Yeah, we're free down here.
But apparently in South Carolina, if you're armed and wearing a mask, then it's a felony. So be careful when you're out in public and you got a mask on and you're carrying. You could rack up some more charges from your local boneheaded police. But I mean, these guys probably were asking for him. He steps out of his car with a mask and an AK, and I don't know the full story behind it, but anyway, I just thought that was a little ironic. All right, so you got any more jackwagons? I'm going to wrap up our jackwagon train and get into some heroes here.
Yeah, I think you pretty much had quite a few there.
Yeah. So thanks to Leadhead Ed and Leadhead Jason for sending their nominations in. If you guys want to send your Jackwagon nominations, talkinglead@gmail.com, and just put Jackwagon in the subject so I'll know what it is. And then on the converse of that, if you want to recognize someone who's done something awesome in our world, or a product, or whatever it may be that needs recognition, send those also, and just put heroes, Leadhead Brigade heroes, Lead Force One, something along those lines.
The Fiocchi family has been producing high-quality ammunition since 1876. In 2020, Fiocchi's launching a full line of premium products, everything from self and home defense to the long-range categories. The Fiocchi Blue Guardian line will feature specially tuned products specifically for home and self-defense, featuring lead-free technology and the only NATO-certified zero-pollution primer in the world. Fiocchi's a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Fiocchi trains, Fiocchi protects.
So speaking of heroes, this guy made my Leadhead Brigade hero, and he's going to get a ride on Lead Force One. And this is a priest, and some of you may have heard this story. Father Tim Pelk, P-E-L-C, says a priest fired holy water through a squirt gun at his congregants. Weeks later, he's gone viral. So, I mean, thank God, there wasn't a police guy driving by and saw him doing this, because he's got a mask on, he's got a gun, so he could be a felon. Father Timothy Pelk thought he would have a little fun on Easter and observe social distancing, of course, by using a plastic squirt gun to disperse holy water on parishioners. A month later, the Catholic priest who serves St. Ambrose Parish in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan, has gone viral after the church posted photos on Facebook in mid-April. So he's got it looks like a blown deadline Cerakoted Glock, that he's got. Squirt gun looks like a real gun. And people are driving up, rolling their windows down, and he's pointing it at them and squirting them with holy water. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think he ought to incorporate it into his regular service. I don't know. I grew up Catholic, and they've got this little ball and a little bucket of water that they kind of fling out towards the congregation. This is far more precise.
It's precise, accurate. You hit your target.
I say they gild that thing and make it part of the priest's equipment.
There you go.
And he'll be able to bless them to the back row.
It says, we figured sterile water was the way to go. We were prepared to do it one of two ways. Either we would distribute little plastic vials of holy water, but then we thought, what about a squirt gun? That's fun. If you do that, I'm coming with my family. Sure enough, one of his parishioners and his family came, along with about 50 other of his parishioners, and they all got shot with a squirt gun with holy water. So take that, COVID-19.
That's awesome.
And there's pictures here of him. People are opening up their tailgates, and he's squirting them through the back with his gun. He's got his whole Catholic priest outfit on, and his hat, and his mask, and his gun, and his gloves. So he's my hero. So welcome to the Talking Lead Force One, Father Tim Pelk. What about you? You got any heroes?
It's kind of hard to top that.
That's a pretty good one, isn't it?
It is.
So just some quick things going on. NSSF puts out a newsletter, and they highlight different things going on with the laws around our nation. And some of their things in this month's newsletter. Protecting mental health during COVID-19. There's an article about NSFF and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and some things that they're doing. And I can only imagine that the suicide, and I haven't heard much about it, has probably gone up during this time. I don't know. Hopefully not, but I would think so. Here's the Ghost Gun. They've got the Ghost Gun article there that I read. That came from them. A great summer ahead for the firearm industry. This August will be the 4th year celebrating the shooting sports, with tens of thousands of people who purchased their first firearms during the pandemic and millions of existing gun owners eager to get outside for a little safe trigger time. All signs point to having more to celebrate than any before. With stay-at-home orders beginning to loosen, we want to encourage our members to turn some of their focus to the NSSF Sports Month. So that's good. Good for them for encouraging people to get out during these times and work on their trigger time, which we did a good episode with Canic-sponsored shooter Nils Jonassen, and we gave away a Canic. So hopefully that lead head will let us know when his Canic comes in and he gets out and practices. But just a great source of information. If you guys haven't become members of the NSSF, National Shooting Sports Foundation, take this time to do that, and you're going to get some great news, great information, great benefits. I think they offer discounts through some of their member businesses that are members of NSSF. And, of course, that's who puts on SHOT Show every year. So what do you think? You think we're going to have SHOT Show next year?
Yeah.
You think so?
Without a doubt, yeah. We've had practice for this for years. I don't know about you, but there's something called the SHOT Show Funk.
Crud.
The crud. That I wouldn't be surprised if it started in Las Vegas.
We've had it for years, haven't we? We've had the COVID for years.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Obviously not with the lethality to the older folks, but people not washing hands, people not taking care of basic stuff. It's it's about time that changed anyway. So, I think we'll be back open.
Just good personal hygiene is good anyway. Even without a pandemic going everywhere. So,
right.
I think they will too. I think they'll have it too somehow, some way. Just depends on Vegas, I guess, and what kind of lockdown that they're gonna still be doing during that time.
Right.
So, all right, Joe. Speaking of SHOT Show, let's run a couple of these interviews that I've still got remaining from SHOT Show, and then Joe and I will be back, and we're going to talk the Leo takedown system.
Sounds great.
Heath likes everything about the great outdoors. He's a lot like us. Whether we're bow hunting in the backcountry or plinking in the backyard, we want to enjoy each experience to the fullest. Kel-Tec's 22 caliber P17 is Heath's go-to pistol for a good time, on the range, on the trail, and anywhere in between. Weighing in at only 14 ounces with a full magazine, its compact size makes it easy to conceal or tuck away in a small pack, pocket, or space. It comes out of the box ready with a fiber optic front sight, a threaded barrel, a Picatinny rail, and a price point for any budget. With 3 16-round magazines, it's ready for hours of pure unadulterated enjoyment. It's easy, it's affordable, it's accurate, and it's a damn sweet marvel of plinking innovation. The Kel-Tec P17. It's more bang for less buck.
Can I get some of that video?
That's your wife.
I know. It doesn't surprise me anymore.
Check.
You got like a big old, looks like you ran into a beam.
You've been wearing your hat. Did you sleep in your hat?
Oh, I'm sure he ran into a lot of beam last night.
So we're just getting our pipes warmed up here, lead heads. It's day 4, 5, it depends on when you got here, I guess, of the 2020 SHOT Show. And we are bringing it to you from the Buck Knives booth, the official lead quarters for the 2020 SHOT Show. And joining me now, we've got our longtime lead head, good friend of the show, Nick Dooley.
How we all doing?
Doing good, buddy. That big, powerful voice of yours. Jeez, I got to turn you down a little bit. I've had a bunch of low talking, squeaky voices over there this week. So your mic is booming. So I understand you had an interesting night last night.
Oh, we did. You know, we went into a comedy club where 3/4 of the audience was over 6 foot tall, and so was
no short people allowed. Huh?
And so were at least 2 of the performers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always interesting when you have more linear feet in height than the building.
That's great. So, John Hickok was performing. Is that right?
Yes, John Hickok was performing. If anybody doesn't know who that is, Hickok 45 is his dad, so he is equally as tall.
Yeah, doesn't he do the videos with him now? Doesn't he get on camera more than he used to?
He gets on camera a lot more, and you know, he's
got his own thing too, doesn't he? Or is he still doing that?
I'm not sure if he's still doing the comedians at the range.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yep. And, you know, as always, put on a great show. So
yeah. So you have been walking this show for 4 days now.
Yep.
Checking out all the cool, interesting things. What have you seen that's really stuck out to you? What's that one thing that you're just like, this is what I'm taking away from SHOT Show?
Well, there's a couple things. There's one company I know you're going to be doing some work with already.
Uh-oh.
Who
that is?
That has their interchangeable barrel system for their AR-15.
Yeah.
Don't have my notebook with me that I wrote everything down because I'm getting old and need to take notes now.
Yeah, and you got drunk last night.
Yeah. Bourbon helps.
Yeah.
And nope. So that was neat, just because, you know, it's anytime you can do toolless changeover on barrels, super handy to do. And, you know, that was one of those that I thought was really innovative and neat. The new SB braces, because SB braces are always nice, and looking at their innovation, and I personally prefer them more to the Magpul braces.
Okay. So what are they doing new?
You know, just more of the different mounting systems. Of course, they have new mounting systems coming out for the AK that'll mount onto a traditional AK pistol, so you don't have to butcher up a piece of pick rail to put it on the back to mount it.
Oh, okay, cool. That's not too bad.
So, yep, side folding triangle AK
side
braces.
folder, okay. Very nice. What else?
The Palmetto State Armory new development that they have for their piston-driven AR concept.
Okay.
That was probably one of the more innovative things. It's a bufferless system, so everything sits on top of the receiver and runs back and forth.
Yeah.
So it actually covers the buffer tube with a chunk of pick rail.
Oh, okay.
It's only available as a pistol right now.
So I saw that last year. No. Was it the year before last? It's either last year or the year before last. They brought the prototype by, and I got to see it. Yeah. So they actually have it out now?
Yep, they have it out now, and they had 2 of their MP5s on display.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see if those actually come out this year.
Nice. Very good. What else? I mean, you've got 4 days of stuff.
4 days of stuff. There's that. There's the, anytime you get in, because the PCC market is huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
pistol caliber carbines.
Yep, pistol caliber carbines are the new hotness, and probably my favorite one I touched this year, because this year I actually got to go to range day for a little bit. So I got to put some rounds through that new Kel-Tec Sub 2000 that's integrally,
integrally suppressed. Integrally, what do you say? Integrally, how's that word?
Integrally suppressed, I think, is how it's supposed to be.
All right. It's made with a suppressor?
Yep, and the other best part of it, everybody who's ever had one went, this thing would be really great with an optic on it, but I still want to fold it. So since that, as I know you had it up on Instagram showing how that cams over to the side for the handguard and locks back into place every time, so it's completely repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
But you can fold it and stow it to have everything going on the road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's probably my favorite thing that I've seen so far at SHOT Show is the Sub SQB, I think is what they're calling it.
Sub SQB.
Yep.
And, of course, the improvements that they made to the RDB platform where it actually has the M-LOK rail on the front end is also great in my mind.
Yeah, they're calling that the Defender.
Yep, and it was, as always, they pumped out a lot of innovation. So.
Yeah, very cool. And something else.
Yeah, there's one other thing that was brand new to SHOT this year. It's actually the first time it ever saw the light to public. And we brought him by to talk to you, and that was the Trigger Interactive System.
Yeah, this is Tyler. Tyler, welcome in.
Hey, everybody.
So, a Trigger Interactive System. What are we talking about? This sounds to me like you've got something that's going to go on my AR. With the Trigger Interactive System.
Not quite.
Not quite.
It's Trigger Interactive, and basically what we're doing is we're taking a $9,000 military-grade pop-up target and condensing it down into a $200 consumer electronic device that when you attach these devices to any off-the-shelf, non-proprietary from any manufacturer firearm or steel firearm target, they'll allow those targets to interact with the shooter.
Cool. So Let's break it down to, since we're all audio here, there's no video. Let's paint a picture for our listeners on how this is going to work.
Sure. So basically, this device is about the surface area size of a credit card, inch tall. It has a Velcro 3M pad on it. You attach that to the back side of your target. Each device has a high visibility signal flag, which we offer in a variety of colors: fluorescent orange, fluorescent green, camouflage, and then eventually maybe IR reflective.
Right.
What happens is these flags will rotate out from behind the target, expose themselves into the shooter's line of sight, basically saying, hey, shoot this particular target. When the target is hit, the unit will then read the vibration and deactivate the signal. So, i.e., your pop up and pop down. Now, when you have multiple devices paired within a system, they'll wirelessly communicate with each other to orchestrate various shooting drills, training scenarios, or even shooting games.
Is this using radio signals?
So
how do they communicate?
Both radio and Bluetooth. So your phone, your smartphone, your tablet is the controller. It controls the whole system, and you pair everything in, set up your scenario parameters, and it's also bringing in all the data from the scenario when you're running through it. So phone to a main control hub via Bluetooth, which just sits next to you on the range, and then that control hub is essentially the central brain, and it is sending signals and receiving signals directly to and from those individual smart target attachments out on the range.
Very cool. And this, it's a Velcro system right now. It's the way that you've got the attachment mechanism.
Correct.
So I mean, I could put this on literally anything.
Correct.
So if I've got old chairs, I mean, I'm just looking at chairs sitting here, and that's my target. I could pop these on there, and if I've got a tree in my backyard, I could put it, on a tree or.
As long as you can't shoot.
It's made
through
for
it.
your
Yeah.
As long as you can't shoot through it.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's got to be able to make contact with the projectile.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. But ideally, like you're saying, for steel targets, to get that to make them interactive targets.
Yeah. Because
reactive targets.
I don't know about you guys, but when you think about it, you have several $1,000s in guns few $100 in gear. You go out to the range, take several $100s of ammunition, spend 20 or 30 minutes driving to the range, and once you get out there, after all that time and money spent, you're going to shoot at a 10-cent piece of paper that you constantly have to go downrange to replace. With this, you're getting real-time statistics on your shooting, all down to the millisecond. It'll track your accuracy, reaction times, split times in between targets, you name it.
Am I putting that in there right?
The best way to do it is you just kind of grab that, give it a little flex, and so with that bend right there, it makes it rigid, really rigid. Adds some structure so it doesn't.
And I would
get
say
pushed
these
over the
are
wind.
replaceable.
Oh yeah, and they're inexpensive.
The flags is what I'm talking about, guys. So.
Yep. So you can shoot through them quite easily, and they can take multiple hits.
Right.
When you're done, you just pull them out, pop them right back in, toolless changeover.
Nice. And what I like about this is the portability of them. So you could take these if you don't have your own, and let's say you go to a range that has steel targets, and they're going to allow you to do this, then you could just take your little system there, and then you could anywhere in the country. So if you're traveling around the country, very nice.
They run off rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. You're going to get 10 hours or more of battery life on a single charge, and that will increase with the more smart target attachments that you have, because the largest power drain is the servo. And so if you have more targets activating, your each individual one is going to take less battery. But they're completely weatherproof, UV resistant, nylon 66 housings. They use a waterproof USB-C charging port, just like any of your cell phones and normal electronics these days.
Okay, very nice. And these aren't available yet, right?
Yep, correct.
Coming
early summer. We're hoping to start pre-sales here in about a month or so.
Okay. Do you have websites set up?
Yep. It's triggerinteractive.com. Go and check us out.
Triggerinteractive.com. Now, what's the plan as far as how are you going to sell these? Like a package of 3 or 4? Or?
Correct. So right off the bat, you'll have to buy the starter kit, and that will come with the control hub, 3 smart target attachments, and you download the app, and right off the bat, you get our basic combat game for free, which is based on the U.S. Army's M16 qualification tables, where you got random targets popping up for random amounts of time.
Okay, cool. And what are we talking about retail here?
So we're still polishing it up right now with the circuit board manufacturer, but we're looking at a retail between $600 to $800, which is right on par with the average cost of a pistol within the industry. After that, there is a monthly subscription that you can get into, which will allow you to gain access to up to 20 various, like I said, scenarios, shooting games, shooting drills, and it will also allow you to create a profile, and you can track your shooting statistics over time. So you can see where you need to improve, how you've improved over the past, time period.
Sure. Yeah. Very cool.
And I guess that will run $15 a month, but as you commit to a longer period, that can drop all the way down to $4.99.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I don't have any more. You got any questions, Dooley?
So with the applications of this, as it's these profiles you're talking about, you're going to have the shooting scenarios. They're based off people from law enforcement and military instructors, so there'll be things that'll allow you to learn as you go along, correct?
Correct. We've got a program in here for almost anybody, whether you're a recreational shooter who just wants to play games like repelling zombie hordes, or you're a law enforcement officer who wants to train with innocent bystanders. And we're also going to work on a program for PRS shooters as well. So competition, military, law enforcement.
Did we talk about the range on this?
Oh, yeah. So the base system goes out to a range of 100 yards right now.
Okay.
And then later on this summer, we'll be coming out with signal repeaters, and hopefully that'll allow us to step it up to 1,500 yards or more to make sure that we can get out to those longer ranges.
Okay.
Or you could also just use it to help boost your signal strength at really any range.
Very cool. Well, Tyler, I appreciate you coming by. Dooley, thanks for bringing this innovation to the lead heads.
Do what I can.
You do, man. We appreciate it. So one more time, give your website, social medias, and all that good stuff.
Triggerinteractive.com. We just got our new website up on Sunday, go check us out. We were at the pop-up preview this week at SHOT Show. Had a lot of great response. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, Trigger Interactive.
Very cool. Guys, we're going to be back with more from the 2020 SHOT Show from the official lead quarters here at Buck Knives. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those interviews there from SHOT Show. Sorry it's taking me so long to get those out. I just had so many interviews, and I still got a few more, so stay tuned. But now we want to talk about Joe's trip up here to Nashville and helping me correct the immense jack-up job that I did of his LEO system, and did me right. So the issue that I had, let's just go ahead and talk about the issue that I had, and then we'll talk about the proper way that you're supposed to go about installing this. So it comes with instruction, and there are videos that they have available. If I had watched the video, it probably, no, I know it would have prevented this, but I didn't.
It really helps. We spend a lot of time working on those instructions, and it really helps to read them and watch the video.
And I'm one of those that's got get there-itis. I have very little patience. I don't have patience at all. So as I was going through, and I had no problem putting the main component on my upper. I mean, that's just easy peasy, parcheesi. It's so easy to put that piece on. And so I did that, and that was fine. I had everything right there, but it was going when I was going to put my barrel in and line up my barrel. And they even have idiot markers on all the components that, here's a line here. You think that should probably line up with something. That's probably important. Didn't even occur to me. So I got to go putting the what's the adapter? The
barrel coupling.
The barrel coupling on, getting the barrel in and putting the barrel coupling on. I didn't test. There was a little bit of play in it, and I thought, that'll tighten up once I get it on, and it'll be fine. Blah blah blah, whatever. Well, it wasn't. And as I went to shoot it, the barrel was moving, and it prevented the gun from operating. So the proper thing that I should have done was use the shims.
That is correct.
Right. So that thus comes in the video that I did and Joe coming to Nashville. So thank you for doing that, for one, and thank Royal Range for allowing us to use their facilities and their tools and their range.
That's just a fabulous facility.
It's remarkable. If you guys ever get a chance to come to Nashville, for no other reason, just for Royal Range, it'll be worth your trip, definitely. And it is open. It's one of the few things that in Nashville that is open and running and has been during this time. But yeah, well worth the trip to come in. So let's just kind of go from start to finish and talk about what we're doing with the Leo takedown system, Joe.
Well, so just to start from the beginning, it's a quick disconnect coupling that can be installed on any mil-spec AR-15 upper receiver and barrel, and basically allows you to be able to remove the barrel quickly and easily. No special tools, no levers, no pieces to catch, no ratcheting parts to wear out. It allows for a rapid deployment from concealment, less than 7 seconds with practice. It's made of military grade steel. The barrel is basically it's replacing the delta ring on an AR-15. It's a steel on steel contact, so there's no wear and tear. Right. And the barrel goes back into the same position every time. It's basically clamping the barrel to the upper receiver. And it's compatible with anything that you can run in an AR-15. So 9mm, 224 Valkyrie, 6.5 Grendel. Just if it fits in the AR-15 platform, it'll work with this.
Right, and so, mil-spec being the key here too, because as we were measuring some barrels, and you told me some stories about other people, there's a certain fudge range there that you got to be within. Sure.
So there are millions of different variations that people have put their special sauce on the design of the upper receiver, on the design of the barrels, but 90% of the folks are sticking to the basic mil-spec dimensions, and that is the thickness just below the rail on the upper receiver, and the other thing being the diameter of the barrel at the base. Somewhere in the 0.98 inches is what is customary. Now, there's some custom barrel manufacturers out there that think it's a really great idea to make a super slim barrel. Those particular barrels won't work with the takedown system. They're just too narrow. But 90% of them will. So that was some of the things we had talked about. Yours were fine. Yours were in the range, and it was just a matter of getting those shims installed.
Yeah. Well, and when I first did it, also I didn't have my handguards. I had issues with the handguards and the barrel nuts.
Sure.
A couple of the ones that I was trying to use didn't really work with it, but I did find that the Mission First Tactical handguards they work perfect with it.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered a couple more of those and replaced the other ones with the Mission First Tactical, which, oh, by the way, if you guys want a 20% discount at Mission First Tactical, use the code LEADHEAD and you get 20% off your order there at Mission First Tactical. Wanted to throw that in. But and then I also got some muzzle brakes, which muzzle brakes aren't an issue with this. It's not going to matter one way or the other, the muzzle brake that you're using. But we did use some Mission First Tactical muzzle brakes. We used their grips and we used their butt stocks also for the lower. But the handguards work great. So if you guys are looking for handguards and you want one that's going to work, the Mission First Tactical handguards work perfect for this Leo takedown system.
Awesome. Yeah, they really work well.
So continue.
Okay. So like I said, it's just straight in, straight out. It's real easy to install and take the barrel out. Only gross motor skills are required. You pull back on the lever or on the ring, and the barrel pops out. Same thing for going back in. You got to use it out on the range for the first time, and it was real easy to operate.
Yeah.
And that's part of the that's part of the draw to the system, right, is the ease of use, the solid lockup.
And we've talked about other systems on this show before. A few years ago, there was one that I had some experience with as far as just using. I had never installed it, so I can't speak to the ease of installing that other system. But compared to just the use after it's been installed, this one, the Leo Takedown, is a lot easier, a lot simpler, a lot quicker. Less steps involved with taking apart and reinserting and locking. It's real simple. It's just like Joe was saying. There's a ring you pull back on, releases the barrel. You pull it straight out. Put the next one in. It seats. It basically just falls into place.
Correct.
And then you pull it in and it locks in to the bearing system. And then you can turn it just a little. You don't have to turn it, but you turn it just a lot. Make sure it's locked in.
We have a locking feature. If you turn that slip ring 45 one way or the other just a little bit,
yep,
it takes the lockout pins out of alignment, and there is no way for the barrel to be removed in that state.
Right. So you want to make sure you do that just for safety purposes.
Yeah, if you're running any kind of a range where you might bump it, or you're running a large caliber, you might want to twist that. But it's perfectly fine on 5.56, 6.8, 300 blackout. Mm-hmm. It's more optional there, but yeah.
Yeah, and of course with any of the different calibers, like the 6.5 Grendel that we went from 5.56 300 blackout to that one, there's a bolt change obviously that you're going to have to do. So if you're shooting that, the 458, the 9, if you do a 9 mil conversion, if you got one of those, and obviously you're going to have to make those, and magazines also on some of them. But those three calibers, the only thing I had to change out was that one bolt. The same magazines and of course ammunition, different ammunition. It's always a good idea to color coordinate or mark somehow your barrels so you can get quick recognition of what they are. Same thing with your magazines. And in that video, that I did, I had done that.
Yeah, and I was going to mention something about that. That was actually a very smart thing to do safety-wise.
Well, thank you. Sometimes I have good ideas. Not always, but sometimes.
Not always.
No. So we got a chance to take it out after we did it and did, proof of concept that it works and that it's, even a bonehead like me could operate it and do it. But I told Joe I'm going to go out to the range this week and I'm going to get a little more proficient with it, get everything sighted in and really, kind of run it the best I can. Now, you've got law enforcement and military guys using this system as well. And it's not just for multi-caliber. I mean, it's for if you want to change the configuration to close quarter combat to long range precision, it's just changing that, your barrel, your bolt, whatever it takes, and then you've got a quick detached scope, boom, boom, popping that off, popping that on.
That's correct. We've actually worked with the Floyd County Police Department in Rome, Georgia, which is where the company's based out of. They wanted to be able to carry a full-size rifle with them at all times without carrying a full-size rifle with them at all times. So we've got a bag that this fits into. It breaks down. It's about the size of a book bag.
Okay.
It allows dismounted officers or
little backpack.
A little backpack, a little book bag, and they have on their back a full-size rifle. If something were to happen that they needed it, it's right there. They don't have to go running back to the car. And it also works for motorcycle policemen. They can put it in their saddlebag, and
or helicopter pilots.
Or helicopter pilots. It's you don't the public gets a little nervous when they see policemen walking around with full-size rifles. Over in Europe, it's an everyday thing, but here, they get panicky enough when the cops walking around with just a sidearm. So this allows them to be able to have what they need in the way of tools on hand in a discreet fashion, and in 7 seconds it's out and ready to protect the public. So school resource officers, the bag can be made into school colors, so that they can be just standing in the hallway with a backpack, just like all the students.
Yeah.
So it is very useful in that regard, being able to have that force protection.
Yeah, for storage or concealability purposes, it works great with this ability that you've allowed the AR-15 to be able to do now.
Sure. And then there's climbing up into a deer stand. You now have the way to break it in half, put it on your back. No having to worry about banging around and trying to get up without hurting yourself. So or dropping the gun. So
right.
It's lots of uses, just lots of uses. Well, personally, I carry one in my trunk, and going to the range and back, and it's nice to be able to stop and get groceries. And someone's walking by and they don't see a rifle bag in the trunk; they just see another book bag.
Yeah, well, they should keep their eyes to themselves to begin with.
But
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's Karens out there.
There's a lot of Karens. There are a lot of Karens. I just saw a video. I think Argo J posted it, and this chick was pulling up next to a police officer and just going off on him because he lived at this apartment complex and he had a key and everything, and she thought he was trying to break into something. And she's like, "I'm reporting you," and blah, blah. He's like, "I'm a police officer." This is... Anyway, the Karens of the world. Jackwagons, there you go. But what I was going to say is the weight of this, doesn't add much weight to your system at all either. So I went and weighed the 3 barrels and my receiver. Didn't do it with ammo. So this is dry, without ammo, before ammo. And it was less than 18 pounds. With 3 full-size barrels, 16-inch barrels, the lower and your system, the coupling and the LEO system itself, the LEO system itself. It was less than 18 pounds with all that.
Yeah, the coupling itself weighs 10 ounces, but it's in the very center of the gun, so it doesn't add any forward weight or back weight. It keeps the balance of the rifle where it is.
Yeah.
So it's very unobtrusive.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So I wanted to make that point too, that you're not adding a whole lot of weight here to your. It's virtually unnoticeable. But I was carrying around 3 different calibers. I had 3 different calibers, and again, putting this in a bag. I mean, it's only going to be 18 plus your ammo, less than 18 pounds. And I could carry 3 different calibers, so I could have long range, intermediate, and close quarter.
Handy.
And then, of course, if I'm going with shorter barrels, then the weight's even less.
That is correct.
But again, you got to be careful. So if you've got a lower and you've got a stock on it, and you throw a barrel on there that's less than 16 inches, then you're getting into NSF.
SBR.
Yeah, you're getting into NFA shit, and you don't want to go down that road. So unless you've got your SBR and it's already SBR'd, but I don't think you can put a full size on an SBR. And once it's an SBR, it's an SBR, right? I don't think you go back and forth from a rifle to SBR, rifle to SBR. I think that's some things you want to look into, But you can just avoid all that and put a pistol brace on it
well,
instead
there
of a
you
stock, or just shoot 16-inch or longer barrels on it.
Correct.
But we always got to throw those caveats out there. If you're going to get in to start doing that kind of stuff, you want to check your local, federal, state laws on what's legal where you live. All right, so if you lead heads are interested in this, which I know you are, I know you want to check into it. You probably want to get your own. What are we looking at for price-wise here? What are these retail for, Joe?
So the kit has got an MSRP of $349. It's we sell it for $299 online.
What's included in the kit?
That's enough to take one and make one AR. So that's an AR and a barrel. We sell the couplings for additional barrels. So you got a kit and then 2 extra couplings for a grand total of 3 barrels. Okay. So the couplings are $59 each. They're really not expensive, and each coupling comes with the cap that covers the gas tube and protects the barrel extension.
Yeah.
So very inexpensive, and we're running a special for lead heads.
Do tell.
Yeah, go to leotakedown.com and enter the code LEADHEAD at checkout.
That sounds familiar.
And and we'll give you a 10% discount on the whole shebang.
Awesome.
And that goes whether or not you're a dealer or just a regular consumer.
Oh, really? You're going to extend that to dealers also?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So there you go, lead heads. Here's your opportunity to try out one of these awesome, I want to call them multi-caliber systems because that's what I use it for. But, I mean, there's so many other uses for it. So if you want a nice, compact, storable truck gun, backpack gun, you want to be able to switch from close quarter combat to precision long range shooting just within a matter of seconds, not having to lug around 2 guns. Like I said, 3. I've got the ability for 3 different guns less than 18 pounds that I can throw in a backpack and carry around with me. This is the chance. 10% off. Use the code LEADHEAD, and this is at their website only. Go to leotakedown.com. That's leotakedown.com, and use that code to get 10% off. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking care of the lead heads, brother. I know they're going to appreciate that.
And by the time you guys are listening to this podcast, we will have available on the website a Leo Takedown kit that includes the upper receiver already installed with the receiver coupling. And that takes half of the install right out of the picture. And we'll have that available for customers.
That'll be great. Yeah. That'll be huge.
So price on that, it's $359. It's a great price on an upper receiver. And you can, of course, you can use the
discount
Leadhead discount code.
The 10% applies to that too. Very good. So make sure you guys take advantage of that discount code. And if you want to skip a step and maybe you don't have an upper, this would be a good way to go ahead and get it already assembled for you there. Now the barrel, they're still going to have to install those. The company.
It is, but that's half the installation, and you basically get the upper receiver for $10.
That's great. You can't beat that. Very cool. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna take it out to the range. I'll get some pictures. We'll do some videos. I did a few. We did a few at Royal Range, and that video is posted now, so you guys can go check that out on our social media. I think I'm going to post it on YouTube too, because it's a long enough video that it would make an all right video.
Awesome.
So you can go to our YouTube. It'll be the first video that I've posted on YouTube in about 5 years. So you should feel honored about that, Joe.
I am honored.
But it's just, like I said, it's just addressing really the issue that I had, and just wanted to give you guys a quick visual of what the system is. And I mean, you're probably going to come up with some uses for it as you guys are watching the video and seeing it. You're like, oh, that would be great for this. As those ideas come in, shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com, and let me know how you would use it. How would you use the Leo takedown system? And we might have a prize for the most creative answer. You never know. We're always giving away stuff here on the Talking Lead podcast. And speaking of contests, as you guys know, we're doing one with Kel-Tec, Mission First Tactical, Buck Knives, Defy Watches, and Fiocchi Ammo. And that's coming. Now that Mission First has opened back their doors, they're getting ramped up. And once David gets everything squared away, we're going to be making the announcement on what you got to do to get involved with that awesome giveaway coming up. So stay tuned for that. As always, make sure that you guys are supporting those that support this show. Kel-Tec Weapons, Fiocchi Ammo, Mission First Tactical, Modern Spartan Systems, Century Arms, Occam Defense Solutions, Royal Range USA, and of course our good buddies there at Leo Takedown. Go to their Instagrams, their Facebooks, their websites. Let them know that you're part of the Leadhead Brigade. Let them know that you appreciate everything that they're doing, not only to make this show possible, but also for our Second Amendment rights. And, of course, buy their products. Go to their websites, use these discount codes, or go to your local gun shop. And that's like the ultimate way that you can show support. Buy their products.
Very important. Thank you very much.
Buy what they're selling. Definitely. Definitely. And that does it for another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time, and definitely for making the trip to Nashville to straighten me out, sir.
Well, it was a lot of fun. We appreciated going up there. Appreciated being on the show, and we'll have to do that again sometime. Besides, we have to work on the Cannonball Run script.
That's right. Yeah.
Cannonball Run 2021.
Maybe make it 2023. We need a little bit more time than that. Yeah. But yeah, we're you never know. We definitely may come up with Cannonball Run 3. And I might be in it. You might be in it. Who knows?
Awesome. There's always room, right?
There's always room. And as always, Leadheads, keep your loved ones close.
And keep your firearms closer. And keep them compact and ready with the Leo takedown system.
Like it.